You know what time it is?
Hey guys, it's me CriticalCubing, and Feliks Zemdegs recently got a new world record average on the 3x3 cube with an average of 5.97 seconds. This is the first sub-6 official average set by none other than Feliks Zemdegs, and today we are going to see what Feliks did in those solves and what we can learn from it. So let's get started. This is the first scramble, and Feliks uses the C-FOB method for solving the Rubik's Cube, and he's fully color neutral, so he can make his cross on any of the sides of the cube. And in this scramble, he did the red cross, and red cross is quite nice. We have one of the edges already connected with the center in here. We have the green edge in here. We have the white edge opposite to the green edge, and then we have this blue edge in here. The cross is very easy. You just have to insert this green to the bottom, and then you have a nice insert for the remaining two edges. The easy cross is not the only thing you have in the red cross. In the red cross, you also have this F12 pair already created, which you can preserve while making your cross. And you also have this edge connected with the center, which gives you the opportunity for creating an X cross. And this is the green and white edge, and the corner for this is the green, white and red corner, which is right in here. So once you insert this green and red edge to the bottom, the white is going to come up in here, and then pairing up the white and this corner, the white, red and green corner, is quite easy. Just as a demonstration, I will show you. This is very easy for creating a block on your bottom for your X cross. So in the red cross, you have an easy cross, you also have an easy X cross, and you also have a first F12 pair. Now in the inspection, Feliks could already see his X cross solution plus his first F12 pair. The solution for X cross is L prime, which inserts this edge to the D layer, and then you have U prime R2, which is going to put this edge at the back right slot where it needs to be, and it's also going to get this F12 pair from the D layer to the U layer in here. And then once you do the R2, you have to do F prime, U prime, F prime, which is just going to move this F12 pair from this position to this position, and then you do D2 to make your X cross at the back, and you have a first F12 pair in here. Feliks held the cube like this so that the yellow and red was in this position, red and green was on the D layer, like this. And from here, he did a wide R prime for inserting the green and for fixing the cross. Now generally what people would do here is that they would keep the yellow on the D layer and then they will do an L prime. Now using L moves is a bit slower than using R moves, which is why Feliks went for the R prime insert instead of using the L prime from this angle. From here, he did wide R prime, which inserts the red and green on the D layer, and then we have these two edges that need to be inserted, and these can be easily inserted by doing U prime R2 F2. However, we also have to do the X cross, so instead of doing U prime R2 F2, Feliks here did U prime R2 F prime, U prime F prime, which creates a square in the D layer for the X cross. And inserting this edge with R2 also puts the edge which was in this position to the back right position, which is where the edge needed to go, and your first F12 pair is back in here. Now since Feliks had already planned his X cross and first F12 pair in inspection, he was tracking the other pieces when he was solving his X cross solution. And once you insert this blue down, right, you have this F12 pair just staring at you, which Feliks solved as his second F12 pair. So once you make your X cross square on D layer, you have your first F12 pair in here, and you also have your second F12 pair in here. Once he was done with his cross, he did a D2 to fix his cross, which also creates an X cross for him at the back. And this was his first F12 pair, which is inserted by doing U2, L prime U L, and then this is the second F12 pair. Now here, some people may use L moves for solving this F12 pair, something like this, and then insert at the back. However, like I mentioned at the beginning of this solve, using RU moves is faster than using LU moves. So instead of going for the LU alternative, Feliks from here did a U prime, and then paired these two up using RU moves, which is done by using R, U to R prime, pairs it up at the back, and then you can insert it. And then you can insert it at the back left slot. While you are pairing up these two, your last F12 pairs are here, and while he was inserting this, he was tracking where these two F12s are going, and then this is also a nice 2-gen case. And for solving this case, you do U2, set the edge on your R slice, and then you do R, U2, R prime, U, R, U prime, R prime. Now Feliks here did something interesting for the last layer, which I'm going to mention after I show you Feliks' solution. For solving the OLL, Feliks here used this algorithm, which gave him a T-perm as his PLL. And T-perm is easily recognizable from two sides. You have a headlights and there's 2x1 in here, and then these two are matching. And whenever you see this pattern, it's always a T-perm. Just like that. Now the interesting thing that Feliks did here was using an alternate OLL algorithm which skips bad PLL cases. Now the standard OLL algorithm for this case is this algorithm, which gives us an F-perm from the back. An F-perm is a bad PLL compared to something like T-perm, which can be done in 0.7 seconds on average. Feliks there did an alternate algorithm that gave him a better PLL instead of doing bad PLLs like F-perm, V-perm, Y-perm and stuff like that. So the thing that you can learn from this solve is learning one extra algorithm for each of your OLL cases, which will skip bad PLL cases and give you better PLLs. And a funny thing here is that this solve had the same time as Matt's Walk's 5.55 world record solve from some years back. This solve was also 5.55, but instead of the OLL skip that Matt's had in his world record solve, this solve was completely full step. This just shows where cubing has come now. This was the next scramble, and in this scramble Feliks did the white cross. In the white cross we have two edges already connected with a center in here, the white and red edge and the orange and white edge. On top of that we also have this block which gives you an opportunity to do the X cross, and the edge for this X cross is back in here, which is also nicely placed, as once you put down this X cross, this edge is going to move in here, and then you can do a U prime R to place this edge at the back where it needs to go. In the white cross we also have this free F12 pair just like the last scramble, but Feliks did not use this free F12 pair as his first pair. For solving his X cross, Feliks held the cube in this position and he put down this block first with the F prime, and then he put this edge where it needs to go with a U prime R, and then he moved his cross aside so that he can insert his white and green edge next. And for inserting this white and green edge, Feliks did wide R, F wide R prime instead of something involving L moves, something like that. But since R moves are faster than using L moves, Feliks went for that option. Doing that, he solved his cross and he also solved X cross at the back. Now Feliks again did something interesting for his first F12 pairs. We have these two pairs in here, right? And generally what people will do is that they will individually solve these pairs. So first they will solve this, and then they will solve this, and then lastly they will solve that, and then the rest of the solves. But since Feliks has such good look ahead, he knew that he could multi-slot these two cases together, and instead of solving it the obvious way, Feliks from here did a Y prime rotation. He paired up these two pairs using U prime R prime, and from here he did a U2 so as to move this pair aside and be ready for insertion. And inserting this pair in this slot is simply doing R2 U prime. R2 opens up the slot for him and U prime inserts the pair in here. And solving F12 like this also sets up a nice 3-move insert for his next pair, which is much more efficient than solving the pairs individually like I showed you before. And Feliks got a similar case like this in a 4.73 world record also. Next we have this F12 pair, which is a nice 2-gen case, and for solving this Feliks did a Y prime rotation and then did R, U2, R prime, U prime, R, U, R prime. Then we have this nice T-shape OLL case, U2, sexy move, sledgehammer, and Feliks got an N-perm in here. And Feliks uses the J-perm setup N-perm, which looks like this. Alternatively, you can also use the same algorithm with L moves from this angle to get a better PLL case instead of getting the N-perm. And here we get a U-perm, which is much more better than solving nperm. However, since this algorithm uses L moves, which is slower than RU moves, Feliks did not opt for this. What can we learn from this solve? Don't just solve F12 cases individually, and try to set up better cases by either multi-slotting them or finding different ways of inserting them. This is the third scramble, and in this scramble, Feliks again went for the red cross, and in the red cross, we have the white already matching with two of its centers. We also have the yellow edge in here, which is matching with the red center, and the other red edge are in here, the green matching with its green center, and the blue at the back. In the red cross, we also have a block in here, which gives us an opportunity for making an X cross. However, the edge for this X cross is in here, which is in a bad position, and it will take lots of moves for getting this edge from here to here, which makes the X cross not worth it, as it will take too many moves to solve. For solving this cross, he held the white and red edge on its R slice, and he did a R2 for inserting this red and blue on the D layer adjacent to the yellow edge, and then did a D move for moving it aside, and then these two are an easy insert, R2 F prime. After solving the cross, there are multiple F12 pairs that you can choose from. You have this most obvious option right in front of you. However, Feliks went for this back insert, and this pair can be set up into a nice 3-move insert by doing a U prime, R prime, U, R, which sets it up into a RU R prime insert from a different angle, and then this pair needs to be solved at the back in here. So for solving this, you do U prime, L, U, L prime. Next, Feliks solved this pair, which can be again set up into a 3-move insert by doing U prime, L prime, U, L, and this sets up into a nice 3-move insert, the RU R prime insert, and this needs to go at the back. And here, lots of people would probably rotate like this for using RU moves for solving this F12 pair. However, from here, Feliks did a Y prime rotation so as to solve this pair in the back slot. Now, why did Feliks do a Y prime rotation instead of doing a Y rotation? Well, as a general rule of thumb, you want to solve the back slots first instead of solving the front slots first. So if Feliks rotated with a Y rotation, then this would be a front slot, and you do not want to solve front slots first. You should be prioritizing solving back slots first instead of front slots. Doing a Y prime rotation from here makes this slot a back slot, which is what we want to do instead of rotating like this and making it a front slot. And the insert for this is pretty short 3-move insert, so the RU versus LU, RU is faster to do. It doesn't really matter that much in here. So for solving this, Feliks did a Y prime rotation and then solved it using U prime, L, U, L prime. The next pair that Feliks solved are these two at the back, and from this angle, this pair does not look that good. However, Feliks did a U prime and then Y rotation like this, which can be easily done with your thumb like that, like this. And we get this pair from this angle now, which is much more better, and you can also set this up into a 3-move insert by doing RU R prime, and now you have it as a RU R prime insert. And for solving this, Feliks did another rotation, Y prime rotation, and then insert with RU R prime. Lastly, we have these two pairs remaining, and this is also a nice 2-gen case, which can be solved like this. You do a Y rotation, and then you have a nice 2-gen case. U, R, U prime, R prime, U, R, U prime, R prime. However, instead of going for the normal insert, Feliks did this instead. He paired these two up by doing RU prime R prime, and instead of inserting with UR U prime R prime, Feliks did a U2 and then inserted this with RU2 R prime. Now, why did Feliks use the RU2 R prime insert instead of using normal UR U prime R prime insert? Well, Feliks has quite good look ahead / prediction during his last slot, and he could already predict that if he inserted normally using UR U prime R prime, then he would get a pie shape OLL case. However, if he inserted with a U2R U2 R prime insert, then he would get a Soon shape OLL. Now, generally, execution for Soon is much more faster than execution for pi, and execution speed of Soon is way faster than execution speed of pi, which is one of the reasons why Feliks opted for the Soon case OLL shape instead of the pi shape. Feliks had the Soon case as his OLL case, and Soon shape is the fastest OLL. Most will agree with this statement. And then we get another T-perm. So what can we learn from this solve? Learn to predict how your corners are going to be affected once you insert your final F12 pair. This will help you predict your corners case before you can even solve them, and will also help you influence those corners case by doing some different insert instead of just inserting it normally. This is what Feliks did in here. He did a different insert which gave him a soon case instead of going for the normal pie-shaped case. In this solve, his F12 style was a bit peculiar than normal. Generally what I have seen people doing is recognizing their F12 pieces by cases. If I notice these two F12 pieces, then I will notice that this is just the R2U prime R2U R case, which is the way you solve this. However, Feliks during F12 tries to convert these cases into better and more efficient setups, which are the 3-move setups that we saw lots of applications in the last F12. The first pair itself was a 3-move setup, just like that, and insert at the back. The next pair also was a 3-move insert, just like that. The next pair after that was also a 3-move insert, which can be inserted like that, and only the last F12 pair was a F12 case that we are familiar with. Feliks's F12 solving style revolves around setting up more efficient cases instead of just solving F12 case by case and whatever you see first. So this type of F12 solving is what makes Feliks so efficient, and this style of F12 is also very intuitive and does allow for greater look ahead during his solves, as with these setups you can easily predict how the other pieces are moving around the cube. This solve was mainly setting up your F12 cases into better F12 cases instead of just solving them normally. This is the fourth scramble, and in this scramble Feliks did the yellow cross. In the yellow cross, we already have this yellow and green edge connected with both of its centers. We have the orange edge connected with the center in here, and the red edge in here opposite to the orange edge, and lastly we have the blue edge in here opposite to the red and orange edge. For solving this cross, Feliks held the cube in this angle with the orange edge on the D layer, and then he inserted this yellow and green edge by doing a white R prime. Now we have the red edge in here and the blue edge at the back. Feliks inserted the red edge next using U2, then R2, and lastly inserting this blue and yellow is quite easy, D prime, R prime, D. Once the cross is done, for F12 you have multiple pairs to choose from, but Feliks solved this pair as his first pair just because this is the easiest pair, and for pairing this up, Feliks did R prime, U prime, R, which pairs these two up in here, and then he inserted this pair with U, R prime, U2, R. Now Feliks did that insert because in our normal grip, doing R prime, U prime, R and U, R prime, U2, R is re-gripless. And doing R prime, U prime, R then U2, R prime, U, R takes one re-grip. So when you have the normal grip, doing this insert is much more faster and easier to do than doing this insert, which takes one re-grip. And Feliks did the same thing. Instead of going for the re-grip execution, he went for the re-gripless execution. Once he inserted that pair, his next pair is set up here nicely, and he inserted this pair using U prime, L, U, L prime. Once he inserted that pair, he went for these two pairs next, and Feliks set this up into a 3-move insert by doing U prime, L prime, U, L, and this pair needs to be inserted in here, and for inserting this, Feliks did a Y prime rotation, U, and then this is an easy 3-move insert, R, U, R prime. And doing this insert also sets up our last pair nicely, which is also a 3-move insert, U2, R prime, U prime, R. Then Feliks got this oil case, which is quite bad, and solving this requires using a lengthy move, which is like this, and then like that. And Feliks did not opt for this. Instead of doing the oil algorithm for this case, Feliks did F, R, U, R prime, U prime, F prime, which does the edge orientation. And once his edge orientation was done, he could opt for ZBLL, which is precisely what he did. He did a U move from here and did the ZBLL for this case. And doing the EO plus ZBLL was a better solution than going for the OLL case and then doing PLL. And this is not the first time that Feliks is doing this. I have seen him doing EO plus ZBLL for that OLL case in some other video as well. This was the last scramble, and in this scramble, Feliks again went for the red cross. And in the red cross, we have the red and blue edge connected with its center, like this. We have the red and green edge in here, the red and yellow edge opposite to the red and green edge, and the white and red edge adjacent to the red and yellow edge. For solving this cross, Feliks held the blue and red edge at the back, and then he did a D move to rotate the red and blue in here, and inserted these two edges using FR. And since the yellow is opposite to the white center, Feliks did a D2 to fix his cross, and then inserting this white and red is quite easy, F move. After solving the cross, we have multiple F12 pairs to choose from, but Feliks solved these two pairs first at the back just because these two can be set up into a 3-move insert easily, and for pairing these two up, you do a U prime, L, U, L prime. These two get paired up, and this pair needs to be inserted at the back in here, and Feliks did a Y rotation here and a U prime, which can be easily done like this, and inserted this pair with a 3-move insert, R, U prime, R prime. When you insert this F12 pair, you have another F12 pair made up, but Feliks did not solve this F12 pair next. He went for this F12 pair, which can be again set up into a 3-move insert. So for solving this, Feliks did a Y prime rotation, and then this is a 2-gen case, U2, R, U prime, R prime for pairing these two up, and then this needs to be inserted at the back, L, U prime, L prime, inserts the F12 pair at the back. However, solving that pair first destroys our this pair, so Feliks solved this pair next, and for solving this, you do U, R, U, R prime, U prime, which pairs up this again, and then you have an easy 3-move insert, L prime, U, L. And lastly, we have this case, which can be either solved by using R, U, R prime, U prime 3 times, like that, or you can also solve it by using U, R, U prime, R prime 3 times. Now, which one should you use over which one? Generally, since this is our normal grip, using U, R, U prime, R prime is practically re-gripless. You are not re-gripping at all. Whereas for doing the R, U, R prime, U prime quickly, we have to re-grip like this, and then you can do it quickly. So Feliks here went for the U, R, U prime, R prime solution just because it is re-gripless, and again it's quite fast. When Feliks inserted this, his edge orientation was already done, and this gives Feliks an opportunity for doing ZBLL, which is what he did in this solve. Feliks knew the ZBLL case, and he did a U prime, F, R, U, R prime, U prime, R, U prime, R prime, U prime, R, U, R prime, F prime, which solved that ZBLL case. And with that ZBLL, Feliks got a time of 5.70 seconds, which allowed him to set him a world record of 5.97 seconds. A big congratulations to Feliks for setting the first sub-6 world record. Now, what can we learn from Feliks? Apart from the things that I have mentioned in this video previously, his look ahead is phenomenal. You should be training your look ahead so that you can have a pause-less solve even at high speeds. Feliks averages 9.5 to 10 TPS, and he has even gotten 12 TPS solves, yet in all of his solves, he does not need to pause, and his solves are very smooth and fluid. And the key to achieving a smooth and fluid solve is having a good look ahead. Next thing that you can learn from Feliks is his TPS. For becoming faster, apart from being efficient, you also have to turn fast. And Feliks averages 9.5 to 10 TPS in all of his solves. And turning this fast is not that difficult after some practice, but turning fluidly and not having pauses in your solves is something that is definitely tough, and Feliks has mastered that art. Efficiency. CFOP is not that much efficient compared to RU and some other methods. Even with CFOP, you can be efficient and you can average sub 60 move count solves on average. Intuitive F12. Feliks has his own style of solving F12, which is just intuitively solving F12. And for cultivating an F12 style similar to his, you have to learn how to solve F12 intuitively. The main advantages of intuitive F12 are definitely the look ahead. Because of the intuition, your look ahead becomes more easier and there is rapid improvement in your look ahead. Plus, intuitive F12 revolves around certain triggers, which is quite easy to predict and see what cases you are going to get next. With intuitive F12, you can also emphasize look ahead, and you can also learn the prediction ability like Feliks used in one of his solves, where instead of getting the pie shape oval case, he got a soon case, which is much more faster to execute than pie shape. extra alg sets. Now Felix does not know the most algs in the cubing community, but he knows variety of alg sets ranging from winter variation, VLS, ZBLL, OLLCP, COLL, and some others. So you should be memorizing some alg sets which will help with your last layer, thus giving you faster times. That was all from this video. I hope this video was helpful. Give this video a like and also subscribe for more cubing content. I will see you next time, and take care guys, and bye.